We're kicking off with WWE as at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes retained his undisputed WWE title against Solo Sikoa in an exciting main event that took a dramatic turn when Roman Reigns made his return. The original tribal chief took out Sikoa and shared a tense stare-down with Rhodes, leaving the WWE Universe buzzing for the next chapter of their story. On Smackdown, fans showered Rhodes with applause before he even said a word, and when he did speak, Cody addressed who he wishes to face at WWE's Bash in Berlin. Solo Sikoa made his way to the ring, and the new tribal chief said he doesn't care what anyone wants to hear, as he wanted to talk about SummerSlam. As we've come to expect with SmackDown on Fox, there was some bleeping as the crowd berated Solo with profanity-laced chants, and Solo demanded a rematch with Rhodes. Jacob Fatu wasn't with his Bloodline comrades at the show, and during the show, Corey Graves shared that the new WWE Tag Team Champion is currently dealing with an injury. Fatu certainly looked hurt after SummerSlam, but it's been reported by PW Insider that this is a kayfabe injury used as WWE does not want Fatu and Roman Reigns to face off just yet. While Fatu wasn't around, Tama Tonga had his WWE Tag Team title, and Tonga Loa was seen carrying a title belt as well, which unfortunately featured a botch. Eagle-eyed fans spotted that Tonga's title still included the DIY nameplates, meaning that the company has found no time to change the plates since the Bloodline won the gold last week. Cody said he is delusional if he thinks he has any claim to a rematch, and when the Bloodline surrounded the ring, Kevin Owens appeared with a chair to prevent yet another ambush. Owens' plan worked, and as he went to leave the ring, Rhodes stopped him and made clear he wants to face the prizefighter at WWE's first PLE in Germany. KO initially rejected this, owing to a bad win-loss record this year, and the prizefighter does have a point as his record in 2024 has been less than stellar. When it comes to TV matches and PLEs, Owens has racked up a shoddy 6-9 record since his first match of the year at New Year's Revolution Night 2. Owens hasn't had much success going for singles gold in recent years, and the last time he held a singles title was 2017, his third United States Championship reign. The prizefighter said he'd done nothing to earn a match with Rhodes, but the crowd in Tulsa bellowed, "You deserve it," a chant that the undisputed WWE champion agreed with. Rhodes said he'd go backstage and speak to Nick Aldis about the match, and Aldis wanted to see if Owens really had the drive to take on the American Nightmare. When Aldis saw Owens fight for the locker room, it was all the Brit needed to see, and he made the undisputed WWE Championship match official for Bash in Berlin. This is our second world title match confirmed for the show, as on Raw, it was confirmed that Randy Orton will challenge World Heavyweight Champion Gunther on August 31st. During his segment with Aldis, Owens took several shots at Roman Reigns, stating that the former champion had to rely on the Bloodline to keep the title during his 1,316-day run. Owens argued that Reigns shouldn't be handed a rematch since the automatic rematch rule was defunct and hadn't been used in years, and pointed out his own history with the rule. He mentioned that he wasn't given a rematch when he lost the Universal Championship to Goldberg in 2017, which marked the end of Owens' only world title run on the main roster. Owens captured the Universal Championship almost 8 years ago on the August 29, 2016 edition of Raw, when Triple H helped him pick up the win in a stunning finish to a fatal 4-way. That marks the only world title run for Owens on the main roster, who is also a former NXT Tag Team and Intercontinental Champion, as well as a 3-time United States Champion. The 40-year-old should realize that he now has a golden opportunity ahead of him to get back to the top of the card, which could force the Canadian to take drastic actions. Owens could become obsessed with defeating Rhodes in the build to Bash in Berlin, and could resort to attacking the popular star ahead of the premium live event. Such an attack would certainly turn Owens heel, and do you think a heel turn and potentially winning the title is the right move? Share your thoughts down in the comments. SmackDown also saw another tease of a WWE tag team splitting, that being A-Town Down Under, after the duo has been on the rocks for some time now. Austin Theory has found himself on the receiving end of beatdowns, while Grayson Waller avoids the majority of the conflict, and at points, it appears Waller has put his ally in harm's way. On this week's show, the former tag champions complained to Nick Aldis about having to earn a title shot, and Theory floated out a hypothetical match between Waller and Kevin Owens. Aldis thanked Theory for the idea and made it official for next week's show, and when Waller asked Theory why he did that, the former US champ said he was looking out for his partner. Theory may want what's best for Waller, but judging by his smile, he might have something else up his sleeve and set Waller up for failure. Waller is in no mood to face Kevin Owens, but he'll have to do exactly that next week, where we could see where Austin Theory's loyalties to A-Town Down Under really lie. After his impactful return at SummerSlam, Roman Reigns was on SmackDown last night in his first Blue Brand appearance since the SmackDown before WrestleMania 40. During the show, Solo Sikoa was seen backstage in Gorilla to start the segment, and Tonga told him that Reigns still hadn't arrived, despite being advertised for the show. Sikoa told him not to worry, that Reigns would be there, and once in the ring, Sikoa called his cousin out and dared the tribal chief to come take the Eula Fala from him. Reigns' music hit, and Sikoa sent Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa outside the ring on the offensive, but Reigns, armed with the ring steps, took out the Guerrillas of Destiny. Roman stepped into the ring with Solo as fans chanted OTC and leveled his cousin with a Superman punch, just like we saw at SummerSlam. When Reigns went for the spear, Loa pulled Solo out of the ring, and the Eula Fala was still in the corner of the ring, and Reigns picked it up, but was quickly blindsided by Tonga and Loa. Tonga gave the Eula Fala back to Sikoa, who started up the ramp, but Reigns fought back and hit a Superman punch to Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa before delivering a spear to the latter. Loa received a beatdown by the OTC in the middle of the ring with a chair, while Sikoa stood on the stage, still with the Eula Fala, and declared that he was the chief now. The broadcast went off the air with Reigns and Sikoa staring each other down, and this segment did a great job of showcasing Reigns' fire as a babyface. The crowd went nuts for Reigns with each spear he gave, and now the task for WWE is to produce equally compelling angles in the weeks to come, now that expectations are so high. As the original tribal chief made his way to the back, Reigns threw up the one gesture with his finger, as even now that he's on his own, the former world champion remains one of the top stars. What is also notable though is that Reigns is still without Paul Heyman, and questions remain as to when, if ever, he'll return to TV after being attacked by the Bloodline in June. What's your take on WWE booking Roman Reigns' return at SummerSlam? Were they able to follow up with this on SmackDown? Let us know what you think in the comments section. It was at WrestleMania 40 that Reigns debuted a new entrance theme that was a tweak of his previous Tribal Chief theme, and he used that theme for his SummerSlam return. That theme was used on last night's SmackDown, but fans could soon be hearing much different music when the former undisputed WWE champion makes his arrival. According to Fightful Select, new theme music for Reigns has been produced, which is described as expansive and lengthy, though there's no word on when this theme will debut. It was also worth noting that WWE has produced new entrance music for top stars in the past, only for it to be shelved, as Randy Orton has nixed new music that was created for him. Reigns' return to WWE has been a hit so far, and new music could add a new layer to his return, and we'll just have to keep our ears listening whenever the OTC makes an entrance. But what would you like to see from a new theme for Roman Reigns? Should he stick with the theme he's used this year, or go back to his previous Tribal Chief song? Let us know below. SmackDown, Andrade and Santos Escobar competed to determine the first challenger for new US champ LA Knight, with a match at Bash in Berlin hanging in the balance. This all started when Knight came out to celebrate winning the US title at SummerSlam, and the crowd chanted "You deserve it" as he bragged about stomping Logan Paul to beat him. Escobar came out and sarcastically congratulated Knight on his victory. After a back and forth between the two, Andrade made his way to the ring for their number one contenders match. We missed the first few minutes of this match as it started during an ad break, and there was a second ad break in the middle, though this meant the two men had plenty of time in the ring. Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews jumped Angel and Berto at ringside to even things up for Andrade, as the pair who arrived with Escobar have proven to be useful in the past. Despite this, Escobar gained the upper hand as he knocked Andrade to the outside, and in a match that didn't feel rushed, the two proved to be masters of their craft. The pair gave a great performance and would have to try hard to have a bad match, but it was interference, though not by Angel or Berto, that would score Escobar the win. Carmelo Hayes interfered but was knocked off the apron by Andrade, but he was able to help Escobar avoid a double knee in the corner so he could steal a win with a roll-up. Escobar will go on to face Knight, though we do have to ask whether the wrong person won, as Andrade has had momentum on his side following two wins over Hayes. It's arguable that he should have earned the first shot at LA Knight's US title, but instead, he's back to feuding with Melo, and it can really only go downhill from this point. WWE has steered away from 50-50 booking in this rivalry, only to walk right back into it, and hopefully the WWE Speed Champ can get a shot at LA Knight's US title soon enough. All that being said, this was a great match, though the two different interference instances was a bit much, and now Escobar has a golden opportunity at the United States Championship. Since arriving on WWE's main roster, LA Knight has risen the ranks to become one of WWE's most popular superstars, and fans can expect to see him for a long time to come. Fightful Select has previously reported that Knight and WWE were negotiating a restructuring of his deal, but that the two sides were said to be far apart on money. In an update, it's now reported that Knight has restructured and extended his WWE contract, securing a large pay increase and committing to remain with the company for several years. It's not known how long this new deal is for, but this marks the latest example of WWE handling its contracts different since Endeavor took over things. While some superstars like Seth Rollins, Chad Gable, and others have signed new deals, some like Ricochet and Becky Lynch have departed from the company entirely. As one of WWE's most popular stars, there will be countless fans happy to see Knight fall in the category of superstars sticking with the promotion, especially now that he's US champion. We'll keep a close eye on LA Knight to see what he does next in this brand new chapter of his career, and you know he'll be making everybody say his name soon enough. It was at SummerSlam that Judgment Day as we knew it came to an end, as Dominik Mysterio betrayed Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor turned on Damian Priest. The WWE Universe is still buzzing from these developments, as well as those we saw on Raw, and now new details have been revealed from within WWE about the split. A new report from WRKD Wrestling reveals that all members of the factions have been praised by WWE officials for the recent work, especially the payoff to the SummerSlam angles. Despite the praise, it was noted that Judgment Day members were seen as sentimental and emotional while preparing backstage for their splintering this past week. The Judgment Day was founded in April 2022 by Edge, aka Adam Copeland, and Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley would join the fold 1 month later. In the summer, Finn Balor ousted Edge as leader, while Dominik Mysterio would join in September 2022, and JD McDonough was officially made a member in November 2023. Carlito has been hanging around the faction since May, while Liv Morgan, who Dominik helped at SummerSlam, was seemingly made a member during this week's Raw. This new Judgment Day features Balor leading McDonough, Carlito, Dominik, and Liv Morgan, while Ripley and Priest united as the Terror Twins on Monday's Loaded Raw. But what do you think of the Judgment Day splitting up? Are you excited to see what's to come with the new Judgment Day? Let us know down in the comments. Back in April, the dominant Imperium saw a huge turning point as Giovanni Vinci was ousted from the group following a loss on an April edition of Monday Night Raw. As he and Ludwig Kaiser were making their entrance, Kaiser turned on his cohort and laid a vicious beatdown on him, and a segment later on made clear Gunther approved of this tactic. Since that night, Vinci hasn't been seen on WWE TV, but that changed on this week's SmackDown when a vignette teased the return of the 34-year-old Italian star. Vinci was once referred to as WWE's pound-for-pound strongest man and was a silent brute in Imperium, though his NXT character without Kaiser and Gunther was the complete opposite. Without those two, Vinci was presented as a brash, cocky man with superstar written all over him, but returned to his Imperium roots when he was called to the main roster in 2022. It seems like WWE is reverting Giovanni Vinci to his old character in NXT, as the SmackDown vignette showed him skiing and then appearing in a fancy car and suit to announce his arrival. The best part of this was that the entire promo was in Vinci's native Italian, and while many fans won't have understood him, his character work was clear in his tone and actions. There was a lot of speculation on whether we would ever see Giovanni Vinci again after he was taken out of Imperium and drafted to SmackDown in this year's shakeup. After the draft, nothing was heard of him or plans for him, but now Vinci is going to have a fresh start on SmackDown with this confident character. What are your thoughts on Giovanni Vinci debuting a new gimmick on SmackDown? Will his singles run be more successful than his tenure in Imperium? Sound off in the comments. The pro wrestling world lost Kevin Sullivan today, and there have been many reactions, including from WWE. His name is trending this morning along with another former superstar that WWE rarely mentions. During a 2015 episode of The Ross Report, good old JR Jim Ross hosted Kevin Sullivan for a two-part interview in which Sullivan discussed the Chris Benoit tragedy and the departure of Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn from WCW in 2000. Regarding the Benoit tragedy, Sullivan, who was often accused of involvement due to his past relationship with Benoit's wife, Nancy, revealed that conspiracy theories about him were troubling for a long time. Sullivan told Ross he couldn't attend Nancy's funeral because of the intense media scrutiny. Sullivan suggested that he was blamed for the tragedy because fans did not want to believe Benoit could be a bad person. Fans were quite bold, and many believed the unfounded conspiracy theory that Kevin Sullivan was responsible for the tragedy surrounding Chris Benoit's death. Following Kevin Sullivan's passing, this conspiracy theory has been discussed heavily on X. What's your take on the reaction from the pro wrestling fanbase after Kevin Sullivan's passing? Do you think it should have been avoided? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Later this month, WWE will host its Bash in Berlin event from Germany, the first PLE from the country, and this week saw the reveal of the official Bash in Berlin poster. As shared by Triple H on Twitter, the Bash in Berlin poster features the new World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, who will defend against Randy Orton on August 31st. Before arriving in WWE, Gunther dominated in Germany's WXW promotion, and it's fitting that the Ring General adorns the poster of what'll be a historic event. Speaking of posters, one name fans don't usually find adorning promotional material is Bayley, despite the role model being one of WWE's most successful women in history. The winner of the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble match didn't feature on the WrestleMania 40 poster until fans complained, as many feel she has been unfairly snubbed for too long. Even CM Punk would demand respect for Bayley after her snub, though that didn't stop her from being snubbed from the SummerSlam poster, despite having a title match in Cleveland. Speaking to Ring the Bell, Bayley was asked why she isn't featured on PLE posters, and while she doesn't know, she's trying to move past this irritating tidbit. She said, "I don't know what it is. I've tried my best, I've worn better outfits, I've begged on my knees, I've cried, I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is, but it's fine. Whatever, I'm over it." What's your view on what Bayley had to say about being snubbed from WWE posters? Do you feel WWE should treat her better? Sound off in the comments section below. Now, Blair Davenport was able to establish herself as a top heel in NXT despite never winning a title, so fans weren't surprised when her name was selected during this year's WWE draft. Since arriving on SmackDown, Belair has made waves, including a storyline with Naomi that saw Davenport ambush the Glow after Naomi won the match, indicating that she wasn't done yet. On this week's SmackDown, Jade Cargill went one-on-one with Alba Fire and showcased her dominance as she destroyed Fire within a matter of minutes with little effort. This is hardly a good look for the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, but after the match, Davenport attacked the former AEW TBS Champion from behind. Davenport, Fire, and Isla Dawn delivered a beatdown on Cargill and Bianca Belair, but Naomi then came to the rescue, leveling the playing field, and the faces forced the heels to retreat. Naomi, Belair, and Cargill last teamed up at WrestleMania 40 against Damage Control, and looks like they might form another alliance again. Next week, fans will see Naomi and Blair Davenport face off again, and don't be surprised if the 4 other women in this program get involved in this upcoming match. We've got some news from after SmackDown now, as the crowd in Tulsa's BOK Center were treated to an intergender match after the show went off the air. This match began as a women's world title match, pitting Liv Morgan against Kairi Sane, but Dominik Mysterio's repeated interference led to Braun Strowman coming out. This resulted in a mixed tag team match, and Sane hit a frog splash from Strowman's massive shoulders to pin the reigning WWE Women's World Champion. Sane and Strowman were certainly an unlikely pairing, and while the Pirate Princess isn't a fully fledged face yet, Damage Control's feud with Sonya Deville's faction has been turning the group. As to whether we see Sane versus Morgan for the title on TV, time will tell, but a victory over the Women's World Champion shouldn't be ignored. At SummerSlam, Nia Jax won her first singles title in WWE since returning last year, and her first singles title since capturing the Raw Women's title back in April of 2018. Jax's long-awaited win came at the expense of Bayley, and now the new WWE Women's Champion and Queen of the Ring is ready to celebrate. In a backstage segment on Smackdown, Tiffany Stratton shared that she was planning Nia's celebration event that'll take place on next week's Smackdown. Stratton was swiftly interrupted by Pretty Deadly, who asked her to plan their celebration when they become WWE Tag Team Champions, but Stratton said she was too busy and walked away. Jax and Stratton have proven to be formidable allies so far, though with the Money in the Bank briefcase, we'll have to see if a celebration is all Tiffany has in store for Nia on next week's show. While speaking during a recent appearance on the Laboratory podcast, Bobby Lashley discussed his experiences with both Vince McMahon and Triple H. Lashley, who found success under McMahon's leadership as WWE Champion and leader of the Hurt Business, noted that he had a strong connection with McMahon. McMahon recognized Lashley as a star and provided valuable advice throughout his career. Lashley expressed admiration for Vince's understanding and support. However, Lashley admitted that his relationship with Triple H has not been as developed. He mentioned that Triple H has his own group of wrestlers and that they haven't had enough opportunities to work together closely. If I say the wrong thing right now, I had a connection with Vince. Vince understood me. Vince was big on the show. He looked at people that were stars. He saw that in me. There were a lot of little nuggets that Vince would give me throughout my career and tell me different things. Vince looked at me like, I can tell Bobby works his ass off. I can send him anywhere around the country to represent the brand. He looked at me like a star. I like Vince. I haven't really had too much of a connection with Hunter. Hunter has his guys. I've tried to, but we haven't really worked enough together to get to know each other. Are you surprised to hear about Lashley's relationship with Triple H? Sound off in the comments below. With his WWE deal nearing its expiry, Bobby Lashley shed light on his injury status in the same interview. The Almighty revealed that he suffered an injury during a match in France and underwent surgery for the same. Despite being told he would need 6 months to recover, Lashley was back to working out just 6 weeks after the surgery, impressing his physical therapist with his quick progress. Now 2 months post-surgery, Lashley claimed that he was pushing hard in his training and expected to be fully cleared for in-ring action in less than a month. What are your thoughts on Bobby Lashley making the announcement to be cleared for in-ring action soon? Sound off in the comments. SmackDown also saw a huge opportunity delivered to the tag team division as a tournament began to crown new challengers for the WWE tag team titles held by the Bloodline. A-Town Down Under took on the Street Profits in our first round match, and the match went back and forth with both teams trading the advantage to the excitement of the Tulsa crowd. In the closing moments, a double-team super neckbuster saw Montez Ford jump from the top with Angelo Dawkins holding Austin Theory on his shoulders. Dawkins got the pinfall on Theory to advance to the next round, giving the Street Profits the chance to have their first taste of championship gold in over 3 years. Our other tag team title tournament match saw Pretty Deadly take on former champions DIY, and it was the duo of Gargano and Ciampa who advanced to the next round. DIY won with a Shatter Machine and a Meet Me in the Middle double team move on Elton Prince, and will face the Street Profits in the finals next week. Who do you hope to see win next week's match and earn a shot at the tag titles? Let us know below. And we're ending with Zion Quinn, who was released from WWE in April, and now the former NXT superstar has made his way to TNA Wrestling. Quinn, now known as just Zion, faced former world champion Steve Maclin on the latest TNA Explosion, and we'll have to see if more TNA matches are in his future.